How did I get your handsome face on there? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Heads Up Advisor here on another Thursday night, coming to you live from Southern California. We got a good one for you tonight. If you hadn't been watching and didn't see the Super Bowl, I mean, Jesus. Craig, is there anybody better? Oh, let me unmute you.
Unmute me, man.
Is there anybody better? Is he the GOAT now or what? Is Tom Brady the GOAT?
I love the picture of Mahomes riding on Tom Brady's shoulders, saying, "Daddy's going to take his boy out for for a ride." Yeah, so, man.
Just 1 year ago, okay, you had Tom Brady losing in the playoffs at the Patriots, 20-year run, six Super Bowl championships, 9 visits to the Super Bowl, I think 12 AFC championship games. And he said simply, in both life and football, failure is inevitable. You don't always win. You can, however, learn from that failure, pick yourself up with great enthusiasm and play yourself in that arena again. And that's where you will find me, because I know I still have more to prove. A guy who's gone to the Super Bowl 9 times and won 6 championships, that is the mindset. That is the mentality that a winner has, okay? And why this guy doesn't stop, and why you see him come in and win another Super Bowl with another team, you know, throughout the year. I mean, how many times did you hear throughout the year, Craig? He's washed up. He's done. He's fighting with Arians. He wants out. Arian wants him out. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
You know, he's a bum. He's too old. How many times did you hear it this year after every single loss? And yet, what happened?
It's usually a function of the age of the person talking, right? So the young people today, they suffer a lot from recency bias. So, you know, they're all like, oh, you know, Mahomes is the greatest. He's the GOAT. It's like, dude, you got to do something for more than 2 years to be the GOAT. Okay. Try doing it for 10 or 12 or 19 years. Okay. So yeah, it's just a function. It's perspective, right? A lot of young people haven't lived a lot of life yet. And so they have a limited perspective. And that's one of the great things that experience gives you. It gives you perspective. And so, you know, part of the purpose of our show is to give you insights and perspectives that you aren't necessarily going to find out on your own unless you get 20 years experience or 30 like me. You know, the whole idea is shorten the learning curve, brother.
Yeah, and today's show, guys, is really about what is it available to you in the future if you don't quit and you don't give up now. Because my uncle told me an old story. He went to an insurance conference. He said, and the guy got up on stage. He goes, you know, the only difference between now and when I was in the business when I first started is when I first started, I wanted to quit every day. Now I only want to quit once a month. Right? And that comes with the experience, but you still want to quit from the constant failure and getting kicked in the mouth. And
I got a great story for you. I got out of college. I wanted to be a financial planner. I went to work for a Prudential life insurance agency. I was a debit agent, and they cycled your comp every 13 weeks based on how much business you wrote. And we had 50 people in our office. I swear 48 of them smoked, and I used to stink. I'd go home every day. I hated life. And I would watch some of these guys. I swear they would go and they would write dead people life insurance apps because they knew they could get paid for the next 13 weeks, and then they'd have to lapse the coverage. And they'd worried about getting charged back next time. So yeah, we've all experienced that in moments in time in this business.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Somebody's telling me I'm not live on Facebook, so I am going to pause for a second and see if I can get it. But go ahead.
I'm watching it on Facebook on my phone.
Okay. All right, then. Forget it.
Operator error.
Come on, I'm doing it. I'm doing it right. Yeah, the point of today's story is because we all go through it. I'm 37, started my agency 6-7 years ago, and I still to this day until last night, you get that mindset of you want to give up, you want to quit, going through the struggles. And we want to just talk about today is what can you have if you don't quit? Okay. What can you have if you don't quit? What does the life look like? And I'm happy to share a little bit about myself today. because, you know, I got beaten and bruised and didn't have first good year and been through a lot, and, you know, got to a place where it's pretty darn good. I mean, I was on Laguna Beach today having a lunch call with John, if he's on, Millen, and Laura, having a lunch call, drinking a Bloody Mary, looking at the beach waves.
70 degrees. Yeah.
70 degrees.
Yeah.
What other industry?
You're like frickin' Benjamin Buttons, man. When I met you 4 years ago, you know, you looked a lot older, and right. I mean, life is just getting better and better for you, brother.
Yeah. And a lot of guys are newer in the industry, and I love the young guys, and I like to look at myself as still young, but young and just starting. Or if you're listening and you're working at a bigger firm, or you're working at, you know, an ABC house, think about going independent, man. I mean, I talked to another buddy of mine today, and he's just like, look, he just left the big box companies. Like, I'm free. I am free, and it feels good. I remember when I first started, and I had 20 grand in the bank, had a 9-week-old at Stella, broke, didn't have any money, no income coming in. And I was so happy that first day sitting at the desk in sweatpants. It was like my whole life changed. Now, fast forward through that, 2 weeks later, get hit with a non-compete lawsuit from my prior employer, just trying to hurt me and keep me down and try to put me out of business. And, you know, everything changed. And now I got to pay an attorney $12,000 retainer, which was all the money in the world. I didn't have the money. I actually borrowed that money to give to the attorney. And I almost wanted to quit. Is this going to work? Can this actually happen? Hadn't closed an account over 10 lives, I think, in my career, working in sales and account management. And went through the first year, failed miserably, bounced around, tried to figure it out, and closed $23,000 the first year. How's that for numbers, Craig?
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Stella's a French bulldog. It has 4 legs. Okay. John, he doesn't have any illegitimate children out there.
A very expensive French bulldog. So you had to pay for it. But the point of the story is, you fast forward now 7 years, and, you know, let's just say money is not really an issue at this point. I live well. I can do whatever I want, and it's pretty darn good. But the point of today's story is just encouragement to everybody. Is like, look, if I quit after that, and believe me, I wanted to quit. Believe me, I wanted to quit, but the drive kept going and pushing and pushing and pushing, and knowing that there's a tunnel vision. You can see the end path. You see other people do it. You know you're good. You know you can do it. The challenge is just, you've got to give it time. How much time is it going to take? For some people, they're going to hit it sooner. Sometimes it's going to take longer. I was on my own, had zero help, zero mentors, didn't really know a whole ton. So you had to figure out. So the track was longer, instead of working for somebody else, splitting comp, and then going on my own. But, you know, the reality is you put in the time and the money and effort, things start to pick up. And that's our business, Craig, right? This is the long game. This is not the short game. And the beauty of the long game is once you put in the hours, and I shouldn't say the hours, the years of hard work, effort, tenacity, fortitude, then the benefits start to reap, and it's pretty good, right?
Right. Because in the same amount of time, you could have had a job. You know what JOB stands for, everybody? JOB, just over broke. You can always get a job, right? And 4 years from now, you'll have had, 3% pay raises, 5% pay raises if you're lucky. And so that is the opportunity cost. You have to go through that failure so that the weak get eliminated. And that's the theme for tonight, right? Quitters always lose. Winners never quit. And so lots of stories around that. And for those who are successful in the insurance industry, it's because they won't quit. They have faith, even though they can't see the result. They know that their actions are the right actions, and what they're doing will pay dividends in the midterm, long term, even though you don't always see it in the short term. Right, John?
Yeah, and if you're listening, guys, or you're listening out there, you're struggling, you had a bad year, it was COVID. Look, a lot of people had a bad year. Some people had a good year, and that's great. But the majority of people had a bad year because of what's going on. It hasn't fully recovered, but especially if you just started. I know it was probably like, look, this isn't going to work. This is bad. It's never going to turn. I made the wrong decision. Stick it out. Stick it out, because the pain is only temporary. It's only a temporary pain. Once you get to that point of being in the business 3 to 5 years, I mean, I'm not saying it's cruise control, but you're in a position where you're comfortable and the heavy stress isn't there as more. It's now of maintaining and growing it. And I think it comes for those that are willing to put into work. That being said, show sponsor 𝗪𝗡 Health. Check us out. Meet 𝗪𝗡 Health, private group consortium, purchase consortium that allows employers to share risk, control costs, and increase benefits with ease. Check us out. Book a demo at 𝗪𝗡Alliance.com. Let's say hello to some of y'all in the crowd. Brad is out in Texas. Yes, surprised to see you on, Brad. I didn't know the power or anything was working there. Mark Fox. We got Paul Seeger here. A couple others on YouTube joining. If you're watching on YouTube, say hello. Put something in the chat. Hey. Oh, Dan Guthrie spoke to Dan today out in Bama. Out in Bama, boy. All right, Craig, fire away here.
Yeah, here's a great example of somebody who didn't quit. So after World War II in Europe, every country was strewn with jeeps and trucks and tanks, and there was destroyed property everywhere. So there was a cat named Ferruccio, and Ferruccio had the unique ability to take junk and turn it into tractors that you could then use to farm, because that was a big business in Europe post World War II. Ferruccio got successful, and when he did, he bought his first Ferrari. And one day he went to the Ferrari Owners Club, and because he was mechanically inclined, he went to Mr. Enzo Ferrari and said, "Hey, man, I could improve your clutch, right? It doesn't work quite as good as it could." And what did Mr. Ferrari say? "Hey, buddy, keep making tractors. I'll keep making Ferraris." So what happened? So Mr. Ferruccio decided, you know what? I'm going to make a car. You know what Ferruccio's last name was? Mr. Lamborghini. Yeah. History is full of these great stories.
Yeah, I mean, and you could look at, too, you look at Tom Brady, picked 200th, shouldn't have played in the NFL. Most guys pick that level and get played. Another one is, Tom Brady, Terrell Owens, right? Now, Terrell Owens, you could argue, has insane talent. Tom Brady, I don't know if he's that athletic, but some of these guys that come out of college, Jamarcus Russell, known to be one of the biggest busts with massive talent, picked overall, and just tries to get by on skill, but didn't want to work and put in the hours. It reminds me of an advisor that may be a phenomenal salesperson, but they don't have nobody to sell to. Okay, you be great closer, but if you got nobody to close, you got nothing. Terrell Owens, guy was picked something like that too, 180th or something. The guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Didn't go in first ballot, should have, just because of other reasons of his personality. But the guy, to this day, if you pull him up on YouTube, you'll see the guy is jacked out of mind and in shape. He probably could play in the NFL today and be better than most receivers. And that was because he put in the work. He outworked everybody, and he continued to do it. And he grew up on a team with Jerry Rice, another perfect example. Guy that just outworked everybody. Quick story about Jerry Rice. You want to talk about competitiveness? I've probably told this on the show before. I remember when the Niners lost to the Cowboys, my team, back in the 90s. He saw Michael Irvin, and he said, "I just want to let you know that I've already started training for next year." And this is, 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, right? But this story is even better. And what makes him so great and competitive is Steve Young goes the day after they win the Super Bowl back to the facility, to the locker room. He forgot something in the locker room. So he goes back, he picks it up, and he peeks his head out the back of the facility. And there's Jerry Rice running routes by himself in the back of the facility the day after they won the Super Bowl. Is that incredible or what? I mean, that just talks to you about the competitiveness of these guys and why they're so great. So, again, today's story is don't quit. I don't care how bad it's been going, for how long it's been going. Continue doing it.
I remember many years I told my wife, I'm like, sweetheart, if this doesn't work, because I went out on my own at 24, 18 months out of school, and I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I don't like being a little Indian. I want to be a chief. And, so there were many times I got frustrated, and I told my wife, I said, honey, I can always get a job, right? I can always go to work for one of the big bosses. And, 35 years later, it never happened.
We've got Mark Fox on here. Talked to Mark a while back, trying to go out on his own, start his own.
Here's a young guy, yeah.
Mark's in the Hunters Club, and he's doing some cold calling. He told a story on last Friday's call about, not quitting. And he did cold calling for the first day and couldn't get anybody to book a meeting. Did it for the second, did it for the third, and figured, well, shit, I'm going to quit. This doesn't work. And then decided, hey, I'm not going to quit. And then the next day, I think he booked 2 or 3 meetings.
Yeah.
Fast forward, he booked 37 meetings in 20 days, him and his brother. Okay. His brother, not in the industry, doesn't know anything. So I don't think it takes you to know anything. 37 meetings in 20 days. What could you do with 37 more meetings? How much money would that make you? So again, perfect example of not quitting and keeping going here. Let's see. Dan said, "What's up, Mark?"
I got another not quitting. So there was a cat named Tony the Inventor, and he worked for Philips back in the day when Philips was a big company, and he was the innovation guy, and he had an idea for a new kind of hard drive. So he went to the powers that be at Philips, and Philips went, "Nah, we don't see it. We don't see any need for that. Doesn't sound like a good idea." Well, he knew it would take millions of dollars to come up with a prototype, and he didn't have millions of dollars. So he went around pitching everybody in Silicon Valley, and everybody had the same conclusion. Can't see it. It doesn't even sound like that would be a product anybody wants. And so he called on a buddy of his who was the CEO of another company that was struggling. And his buddy said, yeah, okay, we'll build you a prototype. And so they created the prototype. It took a couple of years for all this to happen. And so the prototype gets finished, and he has to fly to Silicon Valley to present it to the CEO. And he's on the plane. He gets off the plane, and he loses the hard drive. Somehow it slipped out of his pocket while he was on the plane. And back then you could go back on the plane. So they, formed a search party. They found the hard drive. They went, they presented it. The name of the company was Apple. His buddy, the CEO, was Steve Jobs. And that was the first iPod. Yeah. Guy didn't give up.
Good one. Mr. Animation, let's call him. So Mr. Animation was fired from the Kansas City Star because his editor felt he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. But failures didn't stop there. He started his first animation company in 1921. That didn't work out. Unsurprisingly, he had to dissolve the company, couldn't pay his rent, and was surviving on dog food. So his first animation company went bankrupt and was turned down by hundreds of people. That company, probably you might maybe have heard of it. It does $30 billion a year in revenue. Any guesses, Craig?
That's Mr. Walt Disney, buddy.
That is true. The man, he actually died before it opened, right? The parks opened, but
parks opened, yeah.
You talk about failure and getting kicked in the teeth. Another interesting point of that is he borrowed the money from his life insurance policy, his whole life policy, to start up Walt Disney.
So I can tell you a real life story. So my wife is 3rd generation Orange County, California. Her dad was born 1936 in Orange County here, and I think it was like 1959 when Disneyland opened in Anaheim. There was nothing here in 1959 but orange groves, aka Orange County, and people thought the guy must be out of his freaking mind. An amusement park in the middle of orange groves, right? And guess who proved to be right? Hey, and they're still innovative today. Fast forward to 2020, guys and gals. Disney was closed. No park anywhere in the world. Tokyo, China, Florida, California, Paris, no place. They were all closed. They're like, man, we're going to have our ass handed to us. And then they started streaming Disney Plus. And they estimated, we think we might hit 80 million subscribers by 2024. In 1 year, they added 93 million subscribers and set earnings records despite the fact their parks were closed. So when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Dan Guthrie has one here. Kurt Warner grocery store checkout guide to the Super Bowl. Another great story. Greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
I was bagging groceries. Comes in, plays for the Rams. They signed, what was it? Trent, I forget his last name. I forget his name. He comes in, big signing. Guy gets hurt. I think maybe the first or second game, out for the season. Kurt Warner comes in and has one of the best offensive games ever, or offensive seasons ever. Goes in, wins the Super Bowl. I mean, again, these guys just didn't quit, and that's really what it comes down to. Trent Green was the guy. Thank you, Bill Schmaltz, for that.
He went there with two different teams. Shoot.
Yeah. I mean, he went there, two teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many examples in history. Back in the 1800s, the wire service, Western Union, right? Western Union was printing money back then. Everybody was doing the send to Western Union. I mean, it was Kleenex, right? It was Google. It was Xerox, make a Xerox. The brand became, the verb. And so send a Western Union cable. And so they had the ability to buy Alexander Graham Bell's thing called the telephone. And they said, nah, I'll pass. Imagine being a buggy whip maker in 1900 and a car goes by and you go, what the hell is that? Right? So, the trains were everything back in the late 19th century. They had the chance to invest in automobiles. They didn't see it. The horse and buggy didn't understand the auto and the train didn't understand the car, and the car didn't understand the jet airplane. Everybody missed it. Look, you can fast forward to today. Microsoft missed cell phones, cloud services, so many different things. And yet they were successful despite themselves because they were in tech. But, everybody has to look around and take the blinders off, try to remove your biases and say, yeah, but why could this be a really good idea? Why is it possible? How could I make money with this? If I got out of my own way and said, well, if I knew what to do, what would I do? And don't ask yourself, all the usual questions. Why won't this work? Why am I too busy? Why don't I have enough resources? Get out of that scarcity thinking.
Yeah, I think I have that challenge sometimes all the time as you think of all these ways it can't work. And I think sometimes you compare yourself to competitors and think why it's not going to work. I think and then sometimes I try to spin my mind and go, well, geez, look at the competitors. It's worked for them and they're not really that good, in my opinion. Right. So it's got to work. It's just, maybe you didn't catch that lane yet, or you just didn't hit it yet. But when you get there,
or worse, you didn't even swing at it.
Well,
that's the worst.
Yeah, if you throw enough shit against the wall, something's going to work. I remember I was in my early 20s, I was trying everything: the landscaping company, real estate, investments, life insurance, all these different things that you could argue I failed in some of them. Maybe I just didn't like them, but you just keep trying shit until you find something you like and it works. And look, hey, maybe you're in benefits and it isn't the thing for you. I met people that have left benefits and are successful in other careers. And look, that's okay too. It doesn't have to be in benefits. Benefits is just
you gotta take swings. You gotta take chances. You have to do it. They asked Michael Jordan, you've missed 300 shots at the buzzer. And he goes, you're missing the point. I was willing to take the shot. Nobody else wanted it. I've also made 75 of them. So don't care about missing. right? But I'm taking the shot. It reminds me of a story. So if any children are listening, cover their ears. I got a consultant buddy of mine. He says, look, if you ask 100 people to have sex, eventually somebody's going to say yes. So I don't care how bad of a salesperson you are. If you have enough opportunities to sell, you're going to sell something. The whole problem is everybody doesn't have enough prospects to talk to.
It sounds repetitive, but I think we have to say it maybe once a show and let people know that that's probably your problem. I'm at a Red Bull and vodka. Craig filled us up before the show because he didn't have any wine, so thought I'd go out with a bang. I will be moving to Las Vegas next week, place on the Strip. So we'll be doing the show from the Strip soon. So we're going out with a bang, Red Bull and vodka. If anybody
pick me up today, I was feeling a little tired.
They'll pick you up. If you have any ideas or any stories, put them in the comment section below about people that failed for a long time. I think some people are having challenges on Facebook. Go ahead and jump over to YouTube. We are live on YouTube. Heads Up Advisor. Got another guy we could talk about real quick. Some of you guys maybe a little bit closer to Craig's age, even over Craig's age ago.
Watch it.
You know, I'm an older guy. I can't do it anymore. You're young, John. You got energy. You got this. You got that. I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna hang it up here. I'm gonna ride it out, hang it up. Look at this guy. He was age 62 when he started it with his $105 Social Security check. Pitched his chicken recipe to restaurants. Reported 1,000 people turned him down. I don't know how that many people turned you down. But anyhow, went around, hit the road, selling his chicken franchise, and now has 18,000 franchises around the world. Anybody want to guess it? Go ahead, put it in the comment section below. We'll give you a second.
Yeah, while you're thinking about it.
The Colonel.
That's right.
KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
13 herbs.
Are you allowed to say that still, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or is that politically incorrect these days? That's why they went to KFC.
Yeah, I don't think Kentucky is a pejorative, but, you know, it could be.
Bill Schmoss got it. KFC, baby.
Yeah.
That's for the older folks. I threw that one in there for you older dudes.
Oh, I got another older one for you. How about Arm & Hammer Baking Soda? 150-year-old company. And the head of sales says, you know, sales are going down and down and down. Our profits are going down. I think we should consider some other options other than, you know, being the key ingredient to making cookies. And, you know, of course, the leadership, the board said, yeah, but we're not in that business. You know, we do what we do and we're going to ride it out. And they let him go. He said, no, you're not part of the team anymore. We don't see eyeball to eyeball. So things got even more desperate. They ended up hiring him back, and he said, okay, look, it's absolutely imperative. It is necessary for us to come up with some new ideas, you know, and that's when Arm & Hammer became the refrigerator deodorant. Hey, stick it in the fridge, open up the box, and it will eat the odors. It's freaking magical. And your fridge will smell terrific. And then they came up with sprinkle it on the carpet. And then vacuum it up, and it'll make your carpet clean and your house smell fresh. And then they came up with toothpaste, baking soda toothpaste. That became really big. Now, I got to tell you, if you think, I don't care what size town you work in, if you think you can't differentiate, then remember this Arm & Hammer baking soda. My favorite Arm & Hammer baking soda use is open the box, sprinkle it in your toilet, and flush. And your toilet will be clean. Now, think about that for a moment. Buy it with your hard-earned dollars, pour it in the toilet, and flush it down the drain. Now, you can differentiate anything if you can differentiate that.
I know we covered them, but basketball player cut by his high school basketball team. You know who that was, Craig?
It's the GOAT.
Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. Not a quitter. Yeah, I mean, guys, again, today's show is don't quit. It's been a tough year last year. This year, looking better, looking more positive. Even if it isn't, look, are you retiring?
This is going to be a great year.
Yeah, are you retiring anytime soon? You're going to stop working soon? Right? I know it's tough, and I know people are struggling. Shit, talk. Dan today, he's got 5 kids. Seems to be a trend, Craig. Everybody you talk to these days, these brokers, they have 5 kids. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're starting out in brokers, you got 5 kids and a wife. Can you make it any harder on yourself? That's a guy that you know is going to make it. If he's got the kahunas to go out and be a producer on commission with 5 kids and a wife,
yeah,
I bet my money. I'll put my money.
If you can close your spouse on 5 children, you can close anybody.
Yeah. Dan says 7 kids. I am sorry. 7.
Oh,
what the hell is going? You guys just.
The man is.
I don't know. You just love kids. You're just trying to create an army. Not a lot of kids.
He doesn't have an obvious Irish Catholic name either, so I don't know how that happened.
No.
You in Utah by chance?
I think he's out. No, he's out in Bama boy. All right. Well, look, I think I'm going to end it there. I'll close with simply this: don't give up. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Have the tunnel vision. Look at what guys that are more successful than you in the business have. If you're working at an agency, if you have a mentor, if you have an owner that's successful, just envision that path and that lifestyle. You can have it too if you want it, but it doesn't happen overnight in our business. It's a long-term play. But once you get there, once you make it past that 3 to 5 years, you've made it. You have made it. Yeah, you got to continue to sell, but you've made it past the hard part, right? Yeah. And remember, the beauty is in the struggle. When you make it, the fun goes away to an extent. Talk to any successful person or anybody that's made it. The fun goes away to an extent. The beauty, Craig, tell me if you agree with this, is in the struggle. That is the funnest part. When you get an account that's worth $5,000 and it's all the money in the world, that's the fun part. It stops getting fun.
I would tell you, if you want social proof of how correct that is, it's the wiring in the human brain. We're hardwired 200,000 years ago. And so the beauty is in the struggle. And my social proof is, think for a moment, what is the average age of the children you see on television marching and protesting about unfairness and all of the other things? We're on 3 generations of 0 struggle, extremely limited struggle compared to our grandparents and what they had to go through. And therein lies the insight that human beings don't do well without struggle. The people who are most successful had to struggle. And I will tell you from experience, as somebody who used to do micro groups, small groups, mid-market groups, who does large groups, jumbo groups now, there are very few people defending the fort. Their feet are asleep. They take their clients for granted. Go get them. Go get them. The opportunity is there.
Guys, I'm excited, and I'll talk about one of the new things that we have. You've got 77% of employers under 500 are fully insured. 77%. We now have the technology at Virtue to underwrite all groups without claims data. I mean, every group without claims data, you can convert to self-funding, okay, through a member level census. Is that not massive opportunity for you? You can walk in your group, get a member level census, identify them as a prospect for self-funding, and have the ability to convert them. That's massive opportunity. Most of the guys that are cruising and they're going to retirement, no judgment, right? They're not going to be talking about it. They're going to sell against it. Had advisors say, you know, somebody sold against the case because they said, what if you have one claim? Just completely idiot, doesn't understand insurance, right? Massive opportunity for those that go after it. Find more people to talk to, pay for marketing, keep hustling, stay motivated, stay hungry. Beauty's in the struggle. We'll end it there, guys. We will see you next week, same place, same time. I'll be reporting from Vegas then. Catch you on the next one, guys. Happy hunting.
Vegas, baby.